on WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network. Welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, highlighting the Cardinal teams, administration, alumni, and community. Now here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
February 5th. How did we get to this point in the academic year already? 2026 is off and running, and we are excited for another show here on a Thursday morning on WMUN. Thanks for joining us. If you want to check out any of our other replays, just search This Week in Ball State Sports wherever you get your podcast. Special thank you to Steve Lindell pushing all the buttons in the control room right in front of me. Thank you, Steve, and appreciate WMUN for everything they do for this show and Ball State Athletics. All right, fun show today. Brady Sallee joins us first. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell's next, and then we'll have a couple of comments from head coach Mike Uremovich from Ball State football on the recruiting side. A lot of dust settling from the football program yesterday, and we'll have a chance to talk a little bit about that in a little bit later. Coach Sallee joins us first after a big win for Ball State women's basketball. Coach, appreciate you joining us this morning, and glad we could catch you when you're not coming back from a road trip for once.
Yeah, it's kind of nice being home. So although the snow doesn't make it too appealing, but I guess everybody's dealing with that right now.
Yeah, everybody's got a little bit of that. What was not a problem yesterday was the three-point shooting for your team, and Grace Kingery hitting 7 threes, 6 of those in the first half. What was going on?
Yeah, you know, we've had a bunch of really good shooters through the years, and I think all of them, when they get that feeling, it's been crazy. You know, from Telma back in the day, Maddie Bischoff, Jill Morrison. I mean, I can just go on and on and on with some of these kids. Mariah Monaco's had heaters like that, and Grace was certainly on one last night. And it just seemed like she couldn't get the ball quick enough. She took a couple that were kind of honestly out of sorts for us and for her, but she was feeling it at that level. So at that point, you just say, have at it. And it was fun to watch.
You joked on TV postgame that you took over coaching Grace from the three-point line this week. Is that going to continue?
Well, you know, that was a lot for my staff because I knew they would get wind of it, and this is how quick they got wind of it. So I get back to my office after the presser, and we always kind of debrief the game a little bit and talk through it. Well, Allie Becky from over in Greece was watching the game and had texted Audrey and said, make sure you watch the presser. You won't believe what he said. So just rev them up a little bit, you know. But, the last thing I need to do is talk to Grace about her shot. That's for sure. But maybe figure out some different ways to get her the ball in some different places. But my staff does a great job with getting those kids in the gym, and this team in particular works their tail off at shooting the basketball. So, but you know, Grace is a gunner, and man, when she gets going, it's Katie bar the door.
Head coach Brady Sallee joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, talking last night's win and the season overall as a whole in a few moments. You mentioned Grace was hitting some shots that off balance. She's off the dribble. She's catch and shoot. What does her versatility from three add to this lineup on a game-in, game-out basis?
Well, I think what you're seeing is not just with Grace, but I think Grace is a beneficiary of this. Like, we're really starting to figure out how to play with each other, you know, and Anise is starting to figure out how to play when people don't step out and guard her. You're seeing Tess be more than just somebody that runs down to the block and posts up, and you know, a lot of those screens and a lot of the ball screens that Grace is shooting off of comes from those guys doing their jobs. And then, of course, the spacing off the ball, the movement off the ball is getting really good. So I just think it's taken this amount of time in a motion system where it's really read-based, and you have to trust that the ball is going to get delivered and moved when it's supposed to. I think early on it was a little bit choppy, just really everybody understanding not only what to do, but who they were doing it with. And now you're seeing that kind of gel a little bit. and they understand what Grace can do if they go set an effective screen. But it's all of them really that are starting to figure each other out. And I think it's leading to some gaudy shooting performances, shooting percentages. All that stuff's pretty good right now.
Head coach Brady Sallee with us on This Week in Ball State Sports. Coach, the loss to Miami, since then 3 straight wins. How did you see this team respond the very next game after that one?
Yeah, that was an important lesson that we needed. I didn't like it. I don't think any of us liked it, but we figured out that every possession at the top of the league during league play is really, really important. And we didn't play that game that way, and Miami did. They played the game like it meant the world to them. And I get it. We've been that program, and I think they're trying to get to that point and have done a really good job this year of being that team. And so it's natural that was going to be a big barometer for them if they could come to our place and win. And so they played that way, and we didn't. And I think that was the lesson we took out of it was, you have to play that way. There's no choice if you want to talk about winning championships. And so really, we spent a normal amount of time on Miami after that game. We watched a little bit of film. We talked about it. And then we quickly had to flip the page because Central Michigan was ahead of us. And they're a really good basketball team playing up at their place and probably had the best player in the league. So that got our attention too. But then I think we went up there and we played different. We understood the toughness that we had to bring in every possession. And, I think that was a big step for us coming from that loss and then turn around and playing good at Central, good at Kent, and then clearly culminates with a really good game last night.
Yeah, it's not easy to go to Central Michigan and to Kent State in back-to-back games after a game like Miami. Like, how proud of you are this group to be able to do that in 2 very tough places to go win ball games?
Yeah, those places in my time have been really hard places to win.
Yeah.
No matter how good Central's been or how good Kent's been, it's just been they're just 2 really tough places. And so with the new team, first time that honestly 9 of them have been to Central Michigan. First time 9 of them have been to Kent State.
Yeah.
It's just all those steps that we're taking as a basketball team right now. They're so important for this day-to-day process and the growth in this team. And it's crazy to sit here the first week of February and think that this team is still growing. But I really think we are. And I think we've got more ahead of us, which is exciting.
It was really cool to see your post-game comments after the Central Michigan game about Zuri Ransom, the block and the rebound to seal the game. Mm-hmm. When you have moments like that, how does that bring a group together?
Well, the one thing with this group, and Tessa said it in the post-game presser last night, this locker room is really good. They genuinely are fans of each other. They want so badly for each other to do well. And there's a lot of belief from locker to locker with these kids. And so, in that moment where Zuri had to step up, I think no one was surprised. Everybody knows how hard she's working. She hadn't gotten the minutes that she probably wants, but man, was she ready. And that's really, I think, one of the beauties of college athletics is there's so many times during the course of a year where those moments pop up, and you never know when they're coming, but you can see the kids that are ready when their number is called. For us, it wasn't even was she ready when her number's called, because we see it every day. We see how hard she's working and the stuff that she does. So there's a lot of trust from our side of it. But to see her get that moment, I think all of us were jacked up about it.
Head coach Brady Sallee joining us live on This Week in Ball State Sports on the phone lines, talking women's basketball. Coach, there's a month left of the season. You said this team is still continuing to grow. What are some things that you still want to see progress-wise from this group?
It's been a interesting year because early on in the year where we were doing a lot of really good things, we were kind of living off defense and turning some defense into offense, and our offense was it was fine, but it wasn't great. And then we came back from Christmas, and the tables turned, and we took off offensively. And defensively, we've struggled just a little bit at times with, some different situations. I won't get deep into all that, but, I think if we could figure out a way for this team to be disruptive, to turn teams over, to get a few more possessions from our defense, because we're a good rebounding team.
Oh, yeah.
We're just not turning teams over like I think we are capable of with our size and our length. And so if we could just find a way to steal 3 or 4 possessions on the defensive end of game and add that to what we're doing, now all of a sudden you take a team that's scoring 78, 79, 80 points every night, and you add another 6 to 8. I think that's our room for growth. And if we can figure that out, I like our chances.
Head coach Brady Sallee with us on This Week in Ball State Sports. Well, Coach, appreciate you joining us. And the next video we need to see from the Ball State women's basketball socials is you and Audrey and Mariah doing a 3-point contest if you're teaching Grace threes. So I think that's it.
Well,
I think that's the piece.
My theory has always been do as I say, not as I do. So I don't know that I would want to step out of that box, and especially not against those two, because they would never let me live it down if they beat me. That would be the big thing, if they beat me.
See, we'll have to just let the public wonder forever.
Yeah, that's right. We'll just keep that as a tease out there.
I love it. Coach, appreciate you always, and we'll talk with you soon. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
That's head coach Brady Sallee with us on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll step aside, and Jeff Mitchell, Director of Athletics of Ball State University, coming up next on This Week in Ball State Sports.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Thank you to Brady Sallee for joining us moments ago on This Week in Ball State Sports. We still have Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell to join us, and then some comments in a pre-recorded conversation with head coach Mike Yurimovich of Ball State football, talking about the recruiting cycle and the transfer portal that just closed and everybody coming together. But before all that, Jeff, thanks for joining the show. And are you wanting in on this 3-point competition that we're trying to set up with Brady, Audrey, and Mariah?
Well, I'm 100% in.
Okay.
Okay. Cannot wait to compete.
Well, then, if we can convince Coach Sallee to do it, even if we can't, I still think you, Audrey, and Mariah need to get together and do this.
I'm in. Just let me know what time.
Okay, we'll mic all three of you up and see where it goes. Jeff, it's February. It's February 5th. We're rolling along in this semester. Football just had a big day. We'll get to football in a moment, but how about this women's basketball team? 3 straight wins after a tough loss against Miami. What have been your thoughts of how this team responded after that tough loss?
Well, I think they were really disappointed after that loss, and as any competitive team would be. And so they resolved to get back to their winning ways. And, we've talked about this before, Mick, on the show and just in passing in the hallway. Winning is a habit. And so when you are conditioned to win, losing doesn't feel good. And so you want to get back to that winning ways as quickly as possible. And our women's basketball team has done that. And so it's refreshing to see them recalibrate and compete the way they have the last few games in some tough environments. And, the game up at Central was tough just to rebound from that loss against Miami. And you're going on the road, you're playing a team that's playing better as the season goes on in Central, and they've got one of the best players, if not the best player in the league. And then you play in a tough environment at Kent State, which historically has been quite the competition between those two programs. And then, of course, you come back home and win in dominating fashion last night. So it's good to see they're a connected group. They pass the ball well. There are times last night where we were committing some silly turnovers, but it was because we were trying to be judicious with the basketball and passing and so forth. We'd turn down some looks just to get an extra pass off. And I think once we settled down, our rhythm began to work for us, and we played really well. So just, it's must-see basketball because they play in a way that is fun to watch and leads to high scoring, and we play really good defense too, and it's fun to watch.
Jeff, 29 student athletes were signed by Ball State football from the transfer portal. 34 new players have already enrolled in classes for the football team. 25 transfer, 9 freshmen who previously signed with the program. Yesterday was a pretty big day for Ball State football to put a button on so many things. How would you assess this recruiting class?
Well, yesterday was the day where we announced everybody. The reality is our football staff has been working in overdrive since January 2nd when the transfer portal opened. And, a lot of these names, that everybody saw yesterday have been cycling through the athletics department to ensure that the students could be enrolled in school properly and get cleared so that they can begin participation with our team this spring. But it was fun to see the aggregate list and just to see the depth of talent that is on that list, including the incoming freshmen and certainly the transfer students. And, Coach Juranovic is elated about the class, and I think our staff is as well. And I've been able to talk to a few of them, and they're really excited about the spring. They're excited about the number of students that are going to be here on campus this spring to get acclimated to how we run the program so that you essentially they get a head start going into the summer, and that includes a lot of freshmen as well. So they feel like we are on pace to have a great spring. We're going to push spring ball back a little bit just because of the oddity of this transfer portal and getting students into enrolled and into class here. And it's pushed the weeks back a little bit in terms of getting them acclimated from a strength and conditioning standpoint to be ready to go into spring ball. But I think the schedule will work for us as we go deeper into the spring and then be able to come back in the summer and get ready for the 2026 fall season.
How much work from an athletics director standpoint is there that goes into the football transfer portal window?
Well, Mick, on this for this particular year, there was a lot of behind the scenes work that not a lot of people are going to understand, but we organized a group of campus leaders and explained to them the unique situation that we were facing with an academic calendar that starts at the beginning of January and a transfer portal that coincides with that. And if we didn't make some adjustments to how we were going to recruit and how we were going to work with admissions, we were going to be in a bind when it came to getting students in for the spring semester. And it's not anything that Ball State did to be in a position where it may have been disadvantageous to us because the portal was impressed upon everyone. And so we worked through our governance system on campus and worked collaboratively to ensure that we could be successful in the transfer portal. And so I'm very pleased that our campus leaders work together to do that. And really, at the end of the day, it's all about the best interest of the student. And so, in our opinion, we worked diligently to ensure student success in this cycle. And so now we have talented student athletes that have joined our football program that are set up for success academically, certainly are set up for success to grow athletically. And I credit Coach Yurimovich and his staff for working hand in hand with our leaders across campus to ensure a smooth process. And so I'm a proud AD when it comes to that aspect, and certainly was pleased when I saw all the list of names yesterday, and just congratulate my colleagues across campus and certainly our football staff on a job well done.
Impressive list of transfers, 21 players who've spent time at an FBS program that are enrolling at Ball State University for the football season. Really exciting stuff to come from the football squad. I think everybody's ready for spring ball, spring showcase. Those dates will be announced at some point here soon, but really excited for what's to come for Ball State football. Jeff, really appreciate you joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll talk with you next week. Stay warm out there.
Thank you, Mick. Go Cards.
That's Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell, talking football, women's basketball. Didn't have enough time to talk with Jeff about some other topics, but we'll get to that next week with Jeff Mitchell. We'll step aside, come back, and hear some pre-recorded comments with the football coach, Mike Yurimovich, next on This Week in Ball State Sports.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
We move forward here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Thank you to Jeff and Brady Sallee for joining us moments ago. And now, pre-recorded conversation with Ball State football head coach Mike Yurimovich. He starts off with the work that it took to get this transfer class to Ball State football.
We obviously talked about our high school commitments in December that we had, and a bunch of those guys are mid-year enrollees have showed up already along with the transfers that we added. You know, it's a lot of work to put together a recruiting class, from our football staff to our recruiting staff to our compliance staff on campus, academics, our administration giving us the resources to go recruit and attract these guys here. So I'm really fired up about it and excited to get to work with most of them in the spring.
When you look at this class, what was the priority going into it?
We had to get better everywhere, and that's always going to be our plan in recruiting. Is obviously you have to address needs that you have either from graduation or guys that have entered the portal leaving here. But we brought in guys at every single position group on our roster, and just about every position group has some young high school talent as well as some transfers that we brought in.
How much time do you sit there refreshing the Excel sheets in the portal season?
Well, we have a thing called an allocation sheet in which you're looking at it's not a depth chart, it's just the number of players you have at each position and their age and where they're at. And Wilson, Ellie, and I were excited to close that thing at the end of last week when it was all done, because it was just up on the screen in my office for 6 weeks, really. And like I said, I can't say enough about our staff, because we put a lot of work into the vetting process of recruiting these guys. And when you go into the transfer portal, you have to do your homework. You got to talk to their position coach. You got to talk to their high school coach. The nice thing about this group of guys we're bringing in is the vast majority of them, we've recruited them at some point before, or we have a really good relationship with their high school coach or college position coach. So we know who we're bringing in the door, and they're guys that are excited to be at Ball State.
You talk about wanting to get better at every single position with guys graduating, hitting the portal. From a defensive standpoint, defensive line was a huge returning piece from last year and had to fill a lot of spots this year. How'd you attack that?
We went after the D-line pretty good. I thought we did a really good job. Coach Schwicke did a great job. We got several interior guys as well as defensive ends, and we have a bunch of good returners at that position, and I think people, you're addressing needs in the portal, but you're also trying to strengthen your strengths. You're trying to continue to get better at every position. So I really like the guys we have coming back on the D-line. I love the young guys. I think they're going to be the future of our program, and that's where we're going to be built on the lines, and it takes time for the high school players. That's why we'll always recruit those kids. But the transfers we have coming in can make an impact right away.
You talk about the lines, offensive line, a strength of the recruiting class in December. How about now?
Yeah, we were able to add a couple transfers there as well, and one of them's here right now. One of them will be showing up in the spring, and then the continued development of the guys that we have, and we have a bunch of guys coming back in that group as well.
Offensively, what was the approach in the portal?
We have to get faster, and we got to get bigger across the board. That's offense and defense, but we added multiple wide receivers, added a couple quarterbacks, have a high school quarterback coming in as well as 2 tailbacks. So you're always trying to get better. You're always trying to get faster, and it's 2 things at once. You're developing the guys that are here, and you're also trying to recruit, and that's two places right now. It's the portal to get guys that can immediately help you, and then we're always going to recruit the high school players and get guys in here that can develop and become great players for us down the road.
How about the defensive backfield? What was the focus there?
Same thing. We need to get a little longer. We need to get faster. And I did feel like we needed to get more physical on the back end. So we have multiple guys coming in here. Again, transfers that have played at the college level, that have snaps, that have made tackles. And I really like the returning group we have in the secondary as well. So I tell the players all the time, it's their job to get as good as they can possibly be, and it's our job as a staff to bring the best players in we can to help us win. So spring's all about competition and trying to get our team better, but as individuals, they need to try to earn their way on the field.
Man, who's ready for spring ball?
I'm ready to go right now. We had team run this morning, and then we actually are starting spring ball a little bit later this year due to the transfers that we have coming in and where the portal was. It's going to give us a couple more weeks to practice and have meetings and get them in shape and lift. So spring game will be 1 week later this year.
From your perspective, how was it working with the university, with the athletics department to make sure that you were able to bring in all the pieces that you wanted to with the tight window?
They were great. The NCAA had a terrible portal window set up in terms of the academic calendar. It is what it is. I mean, school starts in January for these guys, and the university really bent over backwards to help us to be able to get the transcripts evaluated quickly, to have our compliance people sign off on them, to reach out to the other institutions, and to get the guys into class. And they're here to get a degree, and so we had to get a lot of work done in a short period of time to get the guys we wanted here to get enrolled in class. So that's been a positive, and I appreciate all the support they gave us.
If you could count up all the hours that you guys spent looking at the portal this year, how many hours do you think it'd be?
I stopped doing that a long time ago, man. When I was a GA, one of my GA counterparts, he charted all of his hours for the year, and he ended up making like 35 cents an hour as a GA. So after I saw that exercise, I said, it's not the amount of time you spend in it, it's how effective you are with your time. And we did spend a lot of time in the portal and recruiting the portal, just like we do our high school players. But it's at the end of the day, it's are you getting the right people in your locker room?
From a character standpoint within this portal group, what was your main focus of that?
Prior relationships. And it's not 100%, but it's important that we get guys that are serious about going to school, that want to be at Ball State and want to win football games and be a part of what we're doing. But there's a lot of guys that can run and jump and hit. We wanted guys that fit the character profile we wanted. We wanted guys that fit the academic profile that we wanted. So you will see a lot of local guys that are coming back home to the state of Indiana or to the Midwest. And you will see several guys from all over the country that we have relationships with their position coach in college or their high school coach to verify the type of young man we're bringing in here.
All right, Coach, we'll see you in the spring. Can't wait to see this thing unfold.
I'm excited to get to work. The real work starts now. Now we got all the guys in the building, so it's going to be a good spring.
Special thank you to head coach Mike Yarimovich in a pre-recorded conversation for talking a little bit about this recruiting class. Very exciting to see what his year 2 foundation is going to be as the spring goes on. And then, of course, the fall starts, and the schedule hopefully is out in the next month to see what is going on with that football team. We'll have a lot more to come. Check out ballstatesports.com for all the updates on all the sports. Thank you to Steve Lindell for producing. Brady, Sallee, Jeff Mitchell, and Coach U for joining us. We'll see you next week on This Week in Ball State Sports.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports. The preceding has been a Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network presentation on 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, WMUN.